Hello there guys, welcome back to the e-bike repairs YouTube channel. My name's Dash and I take apart and fix super fun and exciting stuff like this. This is a Suntour HESC HESC motor. We've got, don't know how well you can see that on there. It's a Suntour HESC and there's loads of super fun and exciting part numbers in there. Hopefully you can see and make out. 36 volt CAN, because it's the CAN bus model, 250 watt, 25 kilometers an hour, and 36 of your finest volts, it says there. Anyway, this motor was making a funny noise. It wasn't making a funny noise, and then it was. So it's a bike that I bought, and you know, we were broken to fix up and sell, and I took it out for a ride. Great, I thought, okay, great, I'll put it up for sale, and we took it out for a little bike ride. Just one of my friends needed to use a bike, so I lent that one out, and it didn't work. Well, it worked, but it made this horrible noise. And don't know if you can hear that, but that's not a happy noise from a motor. Not meant to do that. So what I deduced was that the noise was coming from inside the hub, because when you either had the assist going or you turn the wheel backwards, which both ways sort of engages the clutch, you get that god-awful noise. So I have stripped the motor down out of the hub. Involves taking off the axle nuts there, taking off the axle nuts there. You need the long 17mm sockets and things to do it. It's a bit of a pain in the bum, but it is doable. It should be ready to come apart now. This side cover should come off here. It's got water in it. I can see when I opened it there were dribbles in it. I can see rust marks all around here and the outside. I don't know how you take this off, but I'm going to just do a very light tap. Around the edge of that, see if we get any progress. I think we are actually. No, excuse the beeping, my solar battery is just depleted. I was running the aircon and it's not sunny enough anymore. I'm not sure if that is coming apart, to be honest. Who knows? I'm going to go for... Oh, really? Actually, I know how you're supposed to take this apart. You're supposed to use a 3-jaw puller. And... Oh, grab it. This centre part goes on the end of the axle there. Each of these jaws, teeth things go around the outside of that. You wind this up and it pulls it off. But where's the fun in that? This great big screwdriver should do the job nicely. I like to, when I don't have to, work in the sort of the fun DIY style we all want to do. A lot of the time, if it's a customer's thing, I can't really get away with it. And but when it's mine, I can do what I like. If I break it, it's on me. Well, I mean, if I break the customer stuff, it's still on me, but you know, it's sort of a bit more my fault then. It is coming, I think, because the gears are helical. You've almost got to take it off like that, as opposed to pulling it straight off. I wonder if the other option would be to put an axle nut on there and just tap the axle out that way. I wonder what that would do. Let's have a go at that as well. See what the easiest option is for all this. Let's get that wound on there. Let's have a little tap, shall we? See what happens. Doesn't feel like that does a lot, does it? No, if anything, I think it's put it back together. Do I need to be tapping the other way? Is that what I need to be doing? I think it might be. My brain. It's very hot today. In here, I think it says it's, I don't know, 30 something. It's too hot for me. So I'm going to hold it by there. Ah, that was the answer. Little taps. Little taps. Oh, the free hub just falls out. That's terrifying. Okay. Well, the more you know. Something to be aware of, guys. The free hub just falls out. What was that? What was that coloured thing that just flew out? I've got no idea. All this here. I think it's just a bit of old Loctite or something. Okay, right, so we've got then the free hub assembly. So that's how you change the free hub. I think that's fine, don't see. Pretty sure there's nothing wrong with that. We've got this washer here. We've got this washer here, big flat one. And then we've got the actual side cover itself with the free hub, like ratcheting jobby there. Got a nice, oh yeah, nice bearing, feels smooth and happy. That grease though, does not feel smooth and happy. It's all, ugh. It's not what a good motor should look like. This motor only has, I don't know, 89 miles on it, I think. It's not that many miles at all, really, for it to look like that. To clean this up, what I'll just do, I'm not going to do it all on camera because it's boring, but I would get a bit of brake clean or some other kind of solvent that's just good at dissolving the grease, getting it out of there. Give it a little spray down. It'll just start to work at eating away at the grease, doing a bit to that. If you put it all in the bearings, you probably will wash the grease out of the bearings, and we don't really want that. So, next up we've got probably some very dry gears. I'm wondering if the rust has expanded on the magnets inside here, and that's what's causing our noise, and it's not just dry gears, because at the moment the gears aren't interfacing with a whole lot, they're interfacing with only one part in the middle. So I'm thinking that might be where our problem is. We've got 1, 2, 3 Allen key jobbies here, which are our next thing to take care of. Delicious and greasy. Lovely. What I'd normally do is give it a spray down and then use a toothbrush to just agitate everything. Toothbrushes are great because they're cheap and they work. And because the bristles are, I'm assuming it's a nylon or a plastic or something, they're soft enough they don't really scratch anything. Unlike a wire brush, which might leave a big metal jobby inside my motor, a piece of metal debris. But they're kind of hard enough that they take all that ick out of the inside of the motors really well. Now, I think this here might be a really big bearing in here. I can't quite remember. I seem to recall when I did a video on one of these before, someone educated me on that this was a giant bearing or something like that. Or that's the, I can't remember now. The clutch mechanism, sorry. I think the clutch mechanism lives in this area here. So, yeah, look. See, it will rotate that way, but not the other way. So what I don't want to be doing is pouring brake clean down in there. I think, anyway. There are screws here. I could delve into it. I don't really want to, if I don't have to, because I don't know what's in there. And what if it's a right pain to deal with? Right, that's got a little bit of surface rust on it now, but nothing that some grease won't absorb. I can't get all that stuff off there without sanding it, so I'm going to leave that surface corrosion. It won't do it any terrible harm, I'm sure. Hopefully then our noise is not inside this clutch mechanism here. Doesn't sound great, does it? Maybe I will have to open that up. But this part of the motor here still doesn't sound great. It might need a full strip down and a big clean up. So let's pop these Allen key bolts out and see what we've got going on in there. They look to me like they are a, yep, 4mm, yeah, 4mm Allen. And when you're breaking bolts free, you don't want to use the rounded end of one of these. You want to use the normal Allen end. If it reaches, because it can snap off or round things off. I'm all covered in diesel oil today because I was just servicing my van on the drive, and that's what the bolts look like. By the way, this looks like an M4 or an M5 or something. But that's why I don't have my impact driver, because it's in the garage where I was working. Okay, there's two. Turns out you probably are going to see most of the process. Very exciting. Some people seem to like the longer videos. Some people don't. Who knows? I suppose if I post a mix of both, then everybody's a little bit happy, I guess. Right, this should theoretically pop out now. I'd imagine it's holding these gears in place, so a little bit of persuasion necessary. Any movement? Not really a lot of movement. Okay. Oh no, there is a little. I see there's a gap just beginning to separate just there. Big screwdriver and pry it, but not on the nylon gears, perhaps. Not really what you want to be prying on. This is a very soft, sort of cast alloy feeling thing. It is coming. There you go. It's coming. There's a keyway in there, a woodruff key in there that's probably going to fall out in a second. There you go. Freedom. Gungy. There are part numbers on there, if you can see them, if you can make them out, if you want to. Hopefully that's focused. Can't really tell. What I'll do again then is just give it a little bit of a spray down so the brake clean can start working on that grease, and then in a minute, when I get to it, I can wipe it down a bit easier. Okay, so next level then, we've got our gears here. They have a tiny little O-ring on the top of them there, so you should be able to see it just moving around on the end of my fingernail. It's probably important. They probably put it in there for a reason. The gears themselves look in perfect condition. The motor's barely got any miles on it. I did inspect them a little bit earlier. Didn't see any damage. There's another one of those. There. 1, 2. Come on, little gears. You know you want to come off. And 3. And there's the third one. Give those a little spray down. Like that. Okay. Next after that, we do have bearings on here. Tiny little roller bearings. They have numbers on. They're too small for me to read, but there are numbers. We've got our ring. Is that a sun gear? I think that's the sun gear. And then our woodruff keys there. But the woodruff key seems quite detached, which is fantastic. Doesn't feel like it's about to fall out. So, does it still make a horrible noise? It's not amazing, the noise. I'd like to tear one layer further into it and have a look. So to do that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more Allen heads here. And that should access the actual motor itself. So at the moment we've only been working with the the gears, not the electronic part of the motor. I'm going to give that all a nice scrub down with this, try and get it clean before I get to the next layer, because I don't really want to be putting this grease on the inside. I think it's not electrically conductive, but it would still be nice to perhaps not do that. Oh, there goes one of the little O-rings. Throwing it across the room with a brake clean. Not my finest moment. Oh, it is very warm today. There is sweat on my forehead. Whoa. Horrible. Bit of a wipe down. Some kind of horribleness we can get off. It's looking better already. It doesn't have to be absolutely, completely and utterly spotless everywhere. There are a lot of places that nothing gets touched, so if there's a tiny little bit of old grease caught up in a corner somewhere, it's not going to do any harm to anything, because, you know, the gears aren't going to touch up here, for example. I'm just cleaning it up so that it looks pretty, because who doesn't want that? But you don't have to do the most perfect job in the world. It sort of just doesn't matter after a point. Okay, so that's mostly cleaned out now. I'll maybe give these teeth a bit more of a scrub, but it's getting there. Because I can see a bit of rust just in there. So, with these little Allen bolts, are they going to strip? Oh, what size are they? They're not that size. They are a, what are you, 2.5mm Allen? Already snapped the end off that one, so that's good. Oh, nope, it undoes. Fantastic, and it undoes easily. Which hopefully means I can use my super duper handy dandy, surprisingly good AliExpress little screwdriver. So I'll do them, which should be nice. Oh yeah, look at that, straight out. How long are those? Oh, quite long. Oh yeah, look, there's evidence of corrosion in that area too. It either needs addressing or at the very least investigating. Now I've got to remember where all this went. Great. Should we open up the clutch as well? I think we should open up the clutch as well. I'd imagine it's full of horrible rusty stuff. It needs cleaning up and then re-oiling. So somebody commented on one of the other videos about the Promovec clutch that it needed, the Sprag clutch was dry, so SPRAG clutch was dry, and it needed oiling, which involved drilling a hole in it. Don't quite know what happens with the metal filings from drilling the hole, but we'll just pretend that that's not a problem. And then injecting a bit of oil with a syringe into it. Oh, hello. Right, okay. We have movement here. Now, what's stopping this coming off? Anything? Nothing? Everything. Now do we tap this side of the axle nut? Are we caught on the woodruff key yet? Nope. We've got a bit of movement. It is shifting. I don't know how it's held on. I'm going to leave these bearings in place, even though they do just slide on and off. It's going to be easier to keep track of the buggers. Let's try and just continue tapping. Right, the bearings are falling off. Great. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's pop this axle nut on there so I don't damage the thread. You should never whack on an axle nut without the thread covered by the nut. there goes the Woodruff key, that's come out as well. It looks as though what's holding us up is the ring gear here, the sun gear. I see no way of getting that off, apart from just sort of tap the Jesus out of the back of it. So, that's what I'm going to do. Now, that doesn't really want to come out. Why? What's holding you on? I wonder if the whole shaft comes out of there now. Yes, it does. Okay, so this is the point. Oh yeah, look, I found my noise. The magnets are rusty, they all need cleaning up. Okay. So this is the point where the whole axle needs to slide out that way, but it's held in sort of magnetically. Also, one of these holes has the speed sensor in it here. I'm assuming I should mark that so that I remember where it goes. In theory, any of these three shouldn't make a difference, but I'll just put a lovely little S near that for, you know, so I know how it went back together. Now, if you're sticking your fingers in here, it's magnetically going to be wanting to close. That means nothing you do to stop it will stop your fingers getting squeezed in here. So obviously that's not a good idea. I'm only allowed to do it because I'm a professional idiot. If you do it, all your fingers will get cut off instantly, every single one, like that. So don't. In fact, don't do any of this. Just throw your stuff in the bin and buy new ones. What's the point of fixing anything anyway? Okay, so there will be windings in here, and what we don't want to do is put a screwdriver through the windings. Because if we put a screwdriver through the windings, the motor won't work, and all of this will have been a little bit pointless, which we don't want. I wish there was a way to just hold it steady. There is. It involves putting in the vise, but you can't see it because I permanently mounted the camera here. Like a fool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the vise. Whee! I'm going to put this in the vise. I'm going to pry this off. Then we'll have a look in there once I've done that. Okay, once that was in the vise, that took all of 10 seconds to do, so that's good. Right, what we've got now is our axle shaft that you could clearly quite replace. It pulls out of there, it's got two flats, and if the axle nut wasn't on the end of that, you could replace it, which is cool. Don't know which way round it went, don't know if it was that way or that way, but it's going in one way, it shouldn't matter. That's where our hall sensors are on there, which is why doing a hall sensor repair job on this is such a ridiculous amount of work. You're almost better off just replacing the motor, because I'm still not at them. I have to take apart all these screws to get to the board on the back of it. So it barely makes sense to do it at all. So the sensors live, I'm pretty sure it's these here. So you see one there, one there. Is that showing? Yep, and then one there. But you can't get a soldering iron in there properly to do this repair without taking it to the next level. Huge amount of work, stupid. Or a cable replacement. I'm still not at the cable. It's crazy how much work is involved in doing that. So it's often not worth it. Anyway, nice big thick windings. It's a nice motor, it's a good motor, we like it a lot. The laminations have a touch of surface rust, they're not too bad. They're fine. I'm going to do a little spritz of brake clean. I'm going to wipe them off. Just to get off what's on the surface, and I'm going to put a light spray coating of oil on there, which is going to be a little bit of GT85. Oh, shout out to Priceless Tools, my local hardware store, super handy people. So a little spray just to keep future corrosion, because it's started. We're going to try and keep it from stopping. Now this part here I don't think should matter, because it doesn't move. This part's stationary, it shouldn't matter, it turns out. So what was making the noise? That sounds noisy, doesn't it? Sounds like a bit of a, perhaps a loud or dry bearing in there. So just for reference as well, this part went on the shaft like that and in there. Now, in reinstalling this, oh, look, a thing. A round thing. There's a paper round thing involved, and it goes away that fits in there somehow, that I don't know how it went. I'm assuming each of these holes fit with the cutouts there. That would make sense. So in reinstalling this, because these are magnets, and they are big, powerful, strong magnets, they will, what this will do is it will suck donk into there. See how strong that is, just touching a little bit on the outside. You've really got to pull to get it off, so all these will desperately try and get in there, and if you catch your fingers in there, or a tool or whatever, so fingers will hurt, a tool could ping and then hurt, so yeah, none of it's good. Anyway, this is either a bearing or a bushing, I can't remember, but either way, it should be oiled, I guess, and then there's another bearing further down in there that sounds a bit rough. I'm going to try and just fill the bugger up with GT85 and see if it shuts it up. I don't really want to take this apart anymore. To be honest, kind of done with taking it apart. It doesn't. It's hard to tell if that's where our noise was coming from. It's been smoothly enough. Let's say that that's fine. Whee! Look at it go. The rust on the inside of here is not rust, because this is a cast, like a aluminium or magnesium, whatever part it is. So this actually can't form rust itself on it. It's only going to be a steel part that's rusted next to it and deposited a bit of it on the surface. So I wouldn't be too concerned about any of that. Just give it a bit of a wipe off. Neodymium magnets shouldn't rust as long as the outer coating's not chipped. So I've got to try and line this up with that, like that, he says, with confidence. Yeah, like that, so that this piece lines up. And it's going to have to go back onto this. Now you're going to see quite how violent this will be. Probably going to rip it out my hand. But you don't want your fingers anywhere near this when it goes back together, because there you go. It really wants to be together. Now, that paper piece behind is there, and some lining up is going to have to be done. Oh, there you go. It lines up just like that. How convenient. So, to put this back together, tapping. A little bit of percussive maintenance there. Now, I tell you what is no good. That needs to line up with the holes in this. So actually my percussive maintenance may have been a little premature. What we have to do is find the holes and then line these up with it, otherwise we'll never get those screws back in, will we? Oh look, I found the holes. How convenient. Fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So a bit of tapping there. That paper thing popped back in place. I don't see what difference that paper thing is going to make to anything really. I can see the holes straight down through there. You can see that the screw will be able to fit. I'm just going to give these screws a little spray down. I suppose they're bolts really, not screws, aren't they? See that they go in. If they're not going in, it's not in the right place. Just one of those there, one of those there, one of those there, and one just there. Now, they're going to just do up absolutely fine, aren't they? With no problems. I'd imagine there's a torque value and a star pattern and all that jazz. Ultimately, as long as you're not an idiot and you don't just ram one in with an impact driver first, be alright. It's not like you could strip a 2.5mm Allen head, right? Right? Yeah. Oh wait, you can. There's one of those. There's one of those. One of those. Those. These were not torqued up very much at all. It took almost no force to break them loose because I've put lube on the threads, so that'll change it. Oh look, there we go, we just rounded one off doing it up. So that's good. The fix for that, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know, is put the next size up Torx bit and just bash the ever-living bejeebus what's out of it with a hammer. And then it will not be stuck anymore. Okay, so next up then, what was next? The bearings? The bearings seem like a good place for them to be next. I could read you the numbers off the bearings now, couldn't I? Now I can see them. It is a 696 RS, I think. Surely not. 596 RS, I think that says. No idea if it can focus enough on that to see it, but that's what it says. I can't even read it, it's too small. .696 RS or 596 RS? Who knows? They're very small though, if that answers the question for anybody. Let's get one on there. We'll get one on there. And we'll get one on there. Next then. There was this bit. Did I forget this bit? Or did this bit not come off yet? Where did that bit go? I don't even remember. It's after the free hub, wasn't it? Okay, so not yet. Right, and then we've got our gears are going to have to go on. So I'm going to collect our O-rings and I'm going to put them on that thing instead. 1, 2, 3. And let's get these gears cleaned up a bit because they are looking manky. They're not too bad really, but they're not the best. I suppose if I have them all in a pile, the excess brake clean won't go to waste with it. So you can make these look absolutely perfect if you want, or you can sort of leave them looking pretty good. And realistically, pretty good is going to be fine. If this motor got water in it once, guess what's going to happen to it again? It's going to get water in it again. This will probably need to be a dry weather bike from now on, because whatever is supposed to seal it has either failed or was not very good in the first place. Okay, a bit of a spray down. Go. And there is one, and that's honestly perfectly good enough. I can see in all the teeth there are no chunks. There's tiny little bits of debris down there, but the gears don't even interface with that part there. It's irrelevant and a wasted time to do it if you're just doing this to your own motor. If you're cleaning it professionally for a customer, replace the gears. So I'm going to put that one on here so that I know it's done. Oh, it's got a little bearing on the top that likes to fall out. Convenient. How excellent. How fantastic. And that should just want to mesh with that. Oh, off it goes. Teeny tiny little bearing needs to go in the top and not get lost forever, because that wouldn't be very good, would it? There we go, that goes in there. And then we'll do the same to the others. And the goal for this, I think, is just to get most of the ick off. I've lost the bearing out the top of this one. Oh, it's there, that's why. It's just hiding. Just hiding. So every time I'm spraying brake clean on one of these bearings, I am probably flushing some or all of the grease out of it. I'm aware. But I'm doing it anyway, because have you tried cleaning them another way? It's not fun. Although I suppose the proper way is take the bearing out first. Yeah, gross. Put that on there. That's another one done. That's seated, and the bearing can go on it. Shit, that isn't it? That's better. I do find that the pressure of the brake clean does wonders for cleaning things, because I could, if I wanted to just waste brake cleaner, I could clean it almost entirely with that and barely use any agitation from my toothbrush. But brake cleaner is more expensive than wiggling a bit of a toothbrush, so wiggling the toothbrush it is. Actually seen a tiny bit of damage to one of the teeth on these gears, but I'll get to that in a sec. It's probably from me smashing it around with a hammer, but you know, here we are. Professional idiot and all that. I also recently found out that lifetime exposure to the solvents in brake clean, which can be absorbed through the air or the skin, like my hands, is 1 can. And, well, I have been through crates of the stuff and I'm not very old. So that's a bit of an oops. I try and use it outside more. It's mostly only really doing this inside because that's where the camera is for the video. But here I am. So, damage to the teeth then. A bit of a blob of something in there. There's just a tiny bit just there, and then on the opposite side a tiny bit just there. What I'm going to do is just take a drop something on the floor. I hope it wasn't important. I'm just going to take a bearing out, little Stanley, and just nick the loose bit off and put it back to sort of a nice looking state. And stab myself in the finger with it, of course. What that will do is just stop it peeling off and getting stuck in the rest of the motor. There's a lot of gear to interface at any one time, especially with the helical gears. That much, again, not really going to make a lot of difference to anything. So let's pop that back on there. Let's get its bearing seated. We'll get its bearing seated. There we go. Right, and then we're ready for woodruff key to go in. Tippy tappy, tippy tappy. We've got our 3 tiny little O-rings that do something. Sit over the top of the shaft there. Probably preload the bearings or something. Who knows? I didn't design it. I'm just taking it apart on the internet. And there's that. And then we've got this grotty bit. Clean a bit of the old grease off, shall we? While I'm in here. Seems a shame to do the rest of it and leave that looking quite so gross. See if we can wipe a bit of the grease off. The rest will just be blast it out with a brake cleaner. There we go. That looks absolutely fine. Brake cleaner will flash off in a minute, straight into my lungs. And then this is going to go on there. Now, obviously that's got to line up with the Woodruff key, the slot in there with that, and then the 3 individual gear, what do you call that, shafts, I don't know, have to line up with the 3-hole 1, 2, 3 here. I'd imagine it's a little bit wiggly and some tapping is involved. Well, about that much tapping it would seem is involved, so not very much, which is great. Ah, I put it on upside down. I told you it was hot, didn't I? Ah, see, after it's been apart once, it goes back together much more easily. There we go. That's a bit more like it. That makes more sense. I still can't remember where these go. Were they? One must have been after that then. And that must have been inside the free hub as the second bit that I don't remember. At least I put it on video. This is kind of why I film stuff as well, is so that I can remember what on earth I did. Right, so what does this sound like now? Obviously it's not greased yet. Exactly the same, it's made no difference. Great. What this will get is a bit of silicone grease, which I'm just grabbing a tub of now. Some people say that this degrades the nylon gears, some people say it doesn't, and it's the best thing to use. So who knows? A little bit of grease is better than no grease. This is from find us on eBay. Nice. Silicone grease, anyway. It's a bit delicious. It doesn't taste nice. Don't eat it. Get a bit on there. You don't need as much as you think you need. I'm just sort of going a little bit over the top because think of the comments of all the people that are going to be telling me, oh, you don't need that much grease. Too much grease will explode the universe. And then what I will enjoy is every comment is a view. And if you view it and you don't use ad block or anything like that, I'm pretty sure that's ad revenue. What that sounds like to me. So please crack on. Tell me I'm an idiot. Oh, please spin. Can't spin it. Not strong enough. Can I spin it with a spoon? Yes, I can spin it with a spoon. Okay. Let's put more on. Just put it on thick. Because it's not going to make any difference, because all the excess just gets pushed out anyway. Let's just waste it. I like doing that. Trigger some people. Ooh, a bit from the outside of the pot, put that in there as well. Okay, that'll do. There's just lots of grease on that. Oh, it's running away. Put that there. It's my greasy spoon. One of those. And that is what I brush my teeth with every night. Well, that's what I brush my teeth with every night, obviously, but you know. Delicious and greasy. Put the lid on that. Right, next. Shall we open this? I think it's really dumb to open this. I think that whatever's going on in here wants to be left alone, and I don't want to find out what's in there. But in the interest of science, I'm going to do it anyway. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little Phillips head screws. and quite a lot of regret, probably. Oh, wait, stop. I didn't put these back. The 3 Allen's head screws I took from here. If I don't do it now, I will forget. Everybody will tell me that I forgot, and then I'll have to open the motor back up again. Don't want to do that. It's right, pain in the bum to get apart. One of those. One of those. One of those. Of course, everything's super loopy now with all that silicone grease on it. That's one. Quick click, talk to spec. This calls for 42 inch-pounds, or if you want the incorrect conversion, 18 Newton meters, aka don't do it really loose and don't do it really tight, just sort of a bit tight is fine. So now that I remember that, let's have a gander in here. So again, back to what I said earlier, I think this is the clutch mechanism, the outer part here, so it will rotate that way but not back that way, and I can see evidence of rusty horribleness going on in there. So we're going to pop it open and we're going to find out what's going on inside, what's going on inside, and why we simply must make it be better. So I'm using a Posi 0-bit because I don't have the right one, because they're all in the garage because I was changing the oil on my van. Got no idea what's inside here, but I'm sure it's springs that are going to disappear on me. There is the little bolt. It's like an M2, M3, something like that. Little Phillips head or Posi or JIS or whatever you want to call it, but it's one of them. And there's a bit of Loctite on the end, and only half of it is threaded. That part is not threaded. So we've got 6 of those to get out. 2. 3. 4. 5. There is a part number on this, which I might hold up to the camera in a sec, so that anyone who's interested can see it. You probably can't order one, but I'll show you the part number. We've got focus. Problem is I can't see the screen probably to show you, but EMGER001, DLK116, 769A1.A2.A3. Might be a dot between the 69 and that as well, or a rust spot. 20210102, hopefully that's the date code. EM-06001, and also L-4.7-1. All sorts going on there. To replace the free hub pulls and all that, it looks as though you do that using these 6 Torx 25 screws here. I'm sure the T25. The bearing on this side is an NGK. It is a 6805-2RS on this outer cover here, the side with the free hub pulls. And they're not the pulls, they're the other bit. They're the pulls, aren't they? Anyway, that bit. Right, what's under here? How do I take it apart? Do I want to? No, not really. Am I going to do it anyway? Okay. How do I get you out? There's no obvious way to pry or anything, so I'm assuming that some of it's held on the side camera and some of it isn't. Oh yeah, look, tapping it has loosened it. See that there? The lip is opening, it's coming out. I've got no idea what I'm in for at all. All I can imagine is I wish I wasn't doing this. I'm so scared. What am I looking at? I don't know. Rusty stuff. Oh, there it is. It's come out. Okay. It was that way up. The shiny side up. And it was in there like that. Okay, we've got a bit of surface corrosion in here, which is completely fine because again that's from steel on this alloy or alley or whatever it is, so it doesn't really matter. It sort of deposits on the surface of this as opposed to this surface rusting. Don't think that's terribly important. I'm just going to, as the rest of it, give it a little spray down with GT85, and that should hopefully stop it rusting for a while, I guess. Right, and then we've got this. This is possibly our loud bit, our clutch itself. It looks to be a little unserviceable, to be honest. The part number only seems to be engraved into one side, which is great because that will help me remember which way around it came out. Which is sort of, you know, the shiny side, the nice side that I've already cleaned up a little. That part's a bit gross. And this side is coming up fine with a bit of a wipe from a shockingly greasy cloth. These are some old tea towels, or not tea towels, handkerchiefs, napkins, something like that anyway. Old ones are those. So what I'm thinking is I want to probably give this a little rub down, just there, in case there's a bit of surface rust on there that is making the noise. By a rub down, I do not mean with sandpaper. I have no interest in getting bits of sand inside this motor that I'm just going to have to clean out anyway. Nothing feels that raised, you know, it's a little corroded, a little bit of surface corrosion, but it doesn't feel that raised up. So, I think I need to get into this seal here. I don't know the right tool to do that with. I have no idea, but what I'm going to use is a Stanley blade. So to look underneath the seal, hopefully then I can flush out what's in there with some brake clean and re-lube it perhaps with some GT85 or proper lube. So I'm going to get underneath the edge of the seal. There you go. Underneath the edge of the seal here. So it keeps the ball bearings in place with little teeth on the inside of the seal there. Hopefully there's one of those on each side. And hopefully, if I'm careful, I won't move anything. It doesn't look that bad. It really doesn't look that bad at all. So I see ball bearings in there, and then little pegs. And on the pegs seem to go into the holes in the teeth on this. Don't know how well you can see that. Little holes in there, and then little pegs in there. Next, in between each ball bearing. So it lets it go that way, but it cannot go back that way. Looking inside it, I see absolutely no reason why that is the case, but it seems to be the case. Now I seem to actually be able to rotate it if I push hard against the outer edge here. And don't push in an even fashion, which is interesting. But that doesn't matter whether the whole thing rotates or just that part rotates. It doesn't matter because it only needs to stick going that way. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I even want to flush this out. The grease looks fine. I don't even think I want to put GT85 in it. Shall I do it anyway? I'm sure that the GT85 and whatever grease is in here will not mix. And it's going to separate out the grease and ruin everything. And someone in the comments will tell me that I'm a massive numpty for doing it. But they can't stop me. On the other side of the camera, I'm safe. Okay, I'm going to put that back on. I'm very scared of all the ball bearings falling out. So you should just snap back into place with your thumb, your nail, your finger, a little spudger, whatever you have at hand, or foot, depending on how you do things. I think the cause of our noise is a noisy bearing right in the middle that I don't want to get to and I don't want to deal with. That's probably what the noisy thing in our motor is. And so all this was for nothing, basically. I didn't want to do that, it's too much bother. Should we look in this side as well and just make sure there's nothing particularly horrible going on? So what I did was I found a gap, I put that in there, So straight down against there, and I just pried up slightly. And it just began to come undone. Just like that there. Prying with a Stanley blade is probably really stupid. Oh, this has got little rollers in it. This side's not the same, and I'm scared and I don't want to touch it anymore. So there appear to be little rollers in there and more plastic things, and I'm putting it back together. I'm afraid I've broken it. Yep, something's moved and it won't go back together. Fantastic. Love this game. So I'll have to take back off the other side, see what's moved, and how to unmove it. Ah, okay. So the ball bearing's sitting there, and this carrier's not fitting back in just there. Why? Does it need a love tap? It needed a love tap. Okay, I've not broken it. I'm still scared. I knew I didn't want to open it. Knew I didn't. I think if someone brought me one of these motors for a hall sensor job, I would say no. I think if someone brought me one of these motors for a clutch job, I'd probably say yes, because that wasn't too bad. And if I can buy just this part and screw it back in there, it's not so bad, is it? I've certainly done worse jobs. If someone brought me this job for a free hub replacement, I'd say yes again. That wasn't too bad. Or some of the bearings, I'd also say yes. If they brought me this job for something else, I think I would be very disinterested in doing it. You know, a cable replacement or something like that. I don't think I want to. Right, let's pop that over there. Let's see how this sits. This is going to have to sit shiny side that way, otherwise it will rotate the wrong way. And these little notches line up with these little notches so the screw can go in it. It's just going to fit straight in like that, and I'm going to have absolutely no problems with it at all. Right? Okay. I'll spray these down again, because then I can just eliminate whatever the Loctite thought it was doing. This was a good idea. 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. Super handy dandy AliExpress screwdriver. This is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. See if the clutch slips now. Dropped it. And then this one. Fantastic. Right, that's going back in there. The grease will transfer. That's all good. Have I forgotten something? Probably. Is it going to matter? Probably. Am I going to take it apart again in 5 minutes? Also probably. Getting the third one of these to... Oh, there's grease everywhere. Getting the third one of these to see is always a right pain in the bum. I think you've got to get it just about perfectly on there. Like that. Nope. You can see what I'm on about. Nope. Oh, I've dropped something in my motor. Piece of look. There's so much silicone grease just everywhere. is simply everywhere. Okay, so I might need to just rotate the motor a touch. Let's use this pick because it will damage the gears more than anything else. Let's try that much. Has that made the difference? We'll just have to go on in a certain place. I don't think it does. Well, let's try getting 2 of these on and then rotating it slightly. Going to be a faff, I can tell. An unenjoyable faff. I'd love to just show you it popping straight on. Make my life so much easier, wouldn't it? Nope. Right, I'm going to need this in device and I have to do lots of wiggling to make it go back together because they're hateful, evil things that make me suffer. Okay, we are quite a while later. I've decided that there must be something wrong with the way the gears are meshing because I have started to chew up all the leading edges of the gears, just, you know, trying to get the bloody thing on. It's not going. I've said lots of bad things. I've cursed lots of things. The man who made this, team, lady, whoever made it, whatever made it, be it machine, human, or bloody ape, I curse it all. What I suspect is that these gears have little notches. Let me see if I can find them. Little lines just. Of course I've covered it all in grease now. Just there is a little notch on each of the gears. I wonder if somehow they all have to be lined up with something. Or, you know, if they're all pointing in the same outer or in at that or whatever, I might have a bit more luck. So, I'm going to pop this off again. And have a bit of a go at reseating these gears with the notch all facing, I don't know, the same way at least. So this one's notch, I'm going to get facing the centre. Could have just turned the first one, couldn't I? This one's notch. If it would like to come off, please. Gear of doom. There we go. This one's notch, also facing the centre, if it will. If it would be so kind. Oh no. Everything is going horribly wrong. It's not facing the centre at all, is it? Get off. Please. Please get off. Please. Please get off. Everything's coming out of everything. Nothing's going right now. I wish I hadn't taken it apart. Come here, little bloody bearing, greasy bearing. Should have greased it when it was all back together, shouldn't I? Oh! That was my nail that you heard just disintegrating. That was my nail. Great. Right, there you go, you bastard. Ah, it's sat on a little O-ring on there. Okay, so that wants to go one more tooth over. Sit on there. Right, facing the middle. I don't know if this is the right way, by the way. I'm just a little lost. Didn't pay attention when I took it apart, did I? So I'm guessing now. Oh, that hurt my nail. Right, and then this one's notch is all the way over here, and I'm going to try facing that the same way again. Oh, you come straight up, don't you? And the notch can be facing the middle. It's a bit difficult because they're helical cut gears. They spin as you put them on. So the guesswork is fun, very enjoyable. Not that tooth, the next tooth over. That tooth there. Go on. Well, it's close, but it's not quite where I want it. There, right, it's in the middle. Now that's there, the bearing's on, and that's on there. Will it work? I have no idea at all. Not a clue. Good rough keys over there, so that's going over there. I'm putting on upside down again. That's going on over there like that. Ta-da! Okay. Pop these screws in, bolts even, 1, 2, 3. I have decided that I hate this now. From probably taking it apart to this point, obviously it's my first time really taking one of these apart that much. I did take one apart once and replace a bearing inside them, but it was the outer bearing that actually lives in the motor housing. And I did that, and it was a right pain because no bearing puller could get to it. I had to use a die grinder to grind the bearing until it was thin enough to pop and snap and get out of there. Horrible experience that was. Ages it took because obviously it's hardened steel and the die grinder, it goes through it, but it goes through it slowly. Okay, right, shall we try that and see if that works, because I'm currently proper munching the end of these gears. I don't like doing that. So you're just going to slide on now. Please just slide on now. What I want is for you to just slide on now. Please. Please just slide on. Yes! Yes! You do not know how long I have spent doing that. Right, so line the bloody things up. It goes on way easier. I think that went next, and then I think that went next, but I could be completely wrong. And then I think that the free hub went on, which should be fine. There should be nothing wrong with the free hub. Sounds like a free hub to me. Okay, I think it's resolved. Now, will it be quiet? Unlikely. If anything, it's louder than it was to begin with. So that was a good many hours of faffing around. Well done me. I'm going to reassemble it. I'm not going to show you how to reassemble it. Done. I am deeply uninterested. If somehow it's silent, I might film a clip of it being silent, but expect this to have not solved the problem. It was the bearing in the middle the whole time that I haven't replaced, and all that was wasted time, effort, energy, and I'm an idiot. Bye bye.